3, 2, 1.
This is the DBAD movement, and welcome to episode 14 of the DBAD Don't Be a Dickhead podcast. I'm John Gilbert.
I'm Ian Thompson.
I'm Alex King.
See, now we are going to be talking today about sexism. Why does the lady in our group have to go last on the introductions?
I did sort of join after, so I think it's only right that I'm third.
Ian, I don't know if you remember this, but recently we were accused of sexism. And the circumstances of this, where we were making a film about women being positive role models and how they can support each other to be successful in their career and about raising aspirations. The way that we made the documentary was just to have interviews with different pairs of women and just let them reflect on things. And in the process of doing this, we went to a youth club and we spoke to some young girls there, and it went quite well. But the reason that we were called out on sexism is when I thanked the group and said, "Thanks, guys," and an adult pulled me up on that. And to me, from a real position of ignorance, I didn't know that calling girls guys was seen as a sexist term. But I've looked into this, and it is something that people take exception to. And the reason is it's about the semantic rule in the operation of language of assuming that the male is the norm. So that by using males' terms, that we're actually saying that if you don't include girls and women within that they are therefore inferior.
But then I'd also say that linguistically, guys is no longer a male term.
I use guys all the time. If I'm addressing like a group of males and females, I will say guys. So I don't see it as being a male term anymore.
So who's the dickhead in that situation? Is it me for my casual sexism?
No, because it's there's 2 points here. One is that guys is no longer a male term, I don't think, because it's used so widely to mean either male or female, just a group of people, that it's no longer a male term. So therefore it's now used mainstream and regularly as a gender neutral term. The second thing is, I think it's all in the meaning by the person who said it. If you meant it to mean like "thanks lads" kind of thing, then yes, it's sexist. If you meant it to mean thanks group of people, which I don't mind whether you're male or female, that sort of thing doesn't really bother me, then it's not sexist. So I think the dickheadery was not by you. And in the most non-sexist way that I can, the dickhead was the woman.
Because we're not offended by it, I guess it doesn't mean that other people aren't. So maybe it might make you think twice about saying it in the future, John, if it does offend people.
Sorry, Alex, I'm a white middle-class male, and I just declared the dickhead to be the woman. Is that not the end of the matter?
It's not the end of the matter.
Okay.
It's not. No. I feel like if you've gone through something, you've learned a lesson from it, then maybe it's best to just not use it in future, just to save.
So what was your advice, Ian? That I should have said, "Thanks, group of people, irrespective of whether you're male or female, I don't really mind. Your view was equally valid, although in this particular case, I was only asking the views of girls. So therefore, perhaps peddling some kind of institutional sexism. But anyway, thank you and goodbye."
Yeah, just do that next time.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah. Nailed it.
I think that's a succinct way to put it.
Or maybe I should just not say thank you at all.
Just leave.
I should just flounce out. I should just flounce out in a gender neutral way.
Yeah.
My partner Claire, she put something on Facebook the other day on the DBAD thing, I believe. She texted in about the sexism one. This is an interesting one because we were having a conversation and I can't actually remember what was going on. We'd been on a Zoom party or a Zoom meeting for the day, and so we were both a little bit tipsy. She was doing something like trying to be cool, and I said to her, just like a throwaway comment, I just said, "Oh God, you're such a mum." And she took exception to that and said that I'd never say that to a dad. Whereas I'd argue that you would like take the mickey saying, like, that, for example, dad dancing. So who's the dickhead there? Back me up.
I don't really know whether I want to start calling our number one fan a dickhead.
Well, true, that is the thing.
Cl-
Okay, I'm
It's
willing to
you're
take
the
one for the
Claire's,
team.
Claire's been listening to DBAD since before we started recording it.
Yeah, okay, right, I'm willing to take one for the podcast. I'm the dickhead.
Do you think Claire would, like, if you were dancing badly, do you think she'd say that's such a dad dance? Is that something that she would say without maybe thinking about it, do you think?
There is social media proof that when I started doing Joe Wicks, that boomerangs would be taken of me doing a squat with the caption, "You okay, hun?" So I do get the mickey taken out of me.
Okay.
Yeah, but you were a massive star on TikTok, though. He's got a huge child base following. I mean, when we record a podcast about sexism, we've jumped in around the discrimination against women as almost the implied subject there, and it should be, because women have faced great oppression over the years. Sorry to any kind of sexist man listening to it, it's a fact, right? So we do need to have some positive discrimination to make up the ground on that. But we also should not pretend that it doesn't go the other way around. And I think one thing I've noticed is, women have been over-sexualised for so long, and now I feel like that is challenged. It still does happen, of course it does. But when a man is over-sexualised, it's just a funny joke now, and it's not seemed to be a problem. And I think that the turning point was do you remember the Diet Coke advert with the women ogling?
Yeah.
I think he took his top off.
The window cleaner.
Man, and it's like, well, is that okay? I'll give you another example. When rugby teams do like a fundraiser and they have topless waiters, and so on, they could be like 16, 17-year-old lads, and you've got lots of horny, generally speaking, middle-aged women who are like giving him a tip and stuff like. Could you imagine if it was like a girls' rugby team? Imagine if it was a girls' rugby team and it was men that were going along and like paying to have. I mean, she probably wouldn't be topless, but to have a sexualised young girl waiting on them all night. It's like with like the Bullingdon Club, it would kick off. Yeah. But this happens quite regularly in other environments, and we seem to think it's okay.
Yeah, I guess that derives from like like we've just been speaking about like the past, like how women have always been sort of overly sexualised, and I think it is wrong because it is double standards, isn't it? Especially like the adverts that you see. But I think it's just a time thing. I think it's just going to be over time because I just feel like that's not going to stop anytime soon. Like you say, topless waiters and things like that. It feels different. I think when you go into like a strip club, for instance, for a man to go in there, it's seen as like a seedy thing, maybe sometimes. Whereas with women, if they get like a stripper, it's more of like a funny. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong for me to think like that, but that's the way. Yeah.
Speaking of strip clubs. I'm not going to bring that story in. But one of the fallacies I think about strip clubs is that men enjoy going in there. I don't think I know any man who actually likes going to a strip club. Every man has surely been in there because somebody else has made them go in.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'll be honest.
So do you...
Yeah. Moving on. So I took my wife into a strip club once, and it made her into the poshest lady in the world. So she did want to go in, by the way. I didn't make her go in. But we went in with some others at the end of a night out where everybody was drunk and it was just, should we go in a strip club? And we went and sat right up near the pole where we watched a lady dance, and lots of other ladies came up and said, would you like a dance, private dance? To which Sally was like, oh, no, not right now, thank you very much. And it was like so business-like. We were only there for a short while. And then things took a really strange turn, because then one of the dancers came up and just kind of put her hand on my shoulder and just went, hiya, John, good to see you again, and then left. And I thought, that was a bit odd. And then a bit later on, another one came up and kind of gave me a little bit of a wave and went, hiya, John. And it's like, and Sally's looking at me like, how often do you come to this place? I think I'd been there once before on a stag do many, many years ago. And I was like, what is going on? And so we did have some friends there, and I thought, they've put them up to doing this. It's a prank from them. But they absolutely swore blind it wasn't them. And it wasn't them. It turns out that one of the dancers recognised me from school. And she thought it'd be really funny to send all of the dancers across individually to kind of pretend that they knew me. And that was it was some girl I'd not seen for like 15 years.
It is a
It's
good
quite a good
prank.
prank, actually.
Did Sally get annoyed?
No, I think she believed me, and rightly so, that it wasn't somewhere that I'd been frequenting. So no, it was just a good prank.
One of my friends once paid one of the dancers to allow him to give her a dance instead. He said, like, this isn't going to do anything for me, you giving me a dance particularly, but I will find it hilarious if I can give you a dance. So they didn't go into the private room, they just did it in the main room there, and he gave her a dance, and all the other dancers gathered round and clapped and cheered and thought it was brilliant.
Oh, I think that ever since the show Sex and the City, the way that men have been objectified in a humorous way is something that's become part of the mainstream zeitgeist.
Yeah.
So that is a reference to anybody new to the show, to the episode we have about words and malapropisms. Check it out if you haven't already. There are also a campaign group and academics who are calling upon the Oxford University Press to change the way that sexist terms are used within the dictionary. And I find this incredible, right? So within their dictionary definition of woman, the synonyms for woman include bitch and maid.
Really?
Which
Wow. And that's the Oxford English, not Urban Dictionary.
Well, according to the article that I've read, and Women's Aid and various other causes have got behind, men's synonyms seem to be things like brave and strong, and like kind of positive connotations. We do need to address some of those things. This is the kind of topic that enrages white middle class men.
Yeah, there we go. Oxford Dictionary contains as synonyms for woman words such as bitch, piece, bit, mare, baggage, wench, petticoat, frail, bird, bint, biddy, or filly. I mean, that's quite a collection of words.
Is that in the Ox? Are you joking?
That's awful, isn't it?
That is awful. Have you just made that up, Ian?
No. I just read it from the Guardian right now.
Wow.
So that's it. Anybody that is seething at what we're saying, Andy gets his references from the Guardian. I bloody knew he would.
I have heard a lot of males comment that about women being in the kitchen. They might not necessarily mean it, but I think it's just something that's just a passing comment that's said by some males about women being in, maybe said as a jerk.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Do you think they mean it in an offensive way, or do you think they're parodying themselves?
I think some men will mean it. I think some men do have that sort of image of what a woman should be, but I think a lot of the time when you do hear it, it is probably just a jerk. And I'm not personally offended by it, because I know that if a man ever expected that from me, I'm personally just that sort of person, but maybe a lot of females aren't, so they would be offended by it. So just don't say it.
I wonder if some of my characters as well, Ian, from the short film series that we've made that's a smash hit, there's a particular scene where this boy is looking for his mum, so he comes running in his house, and the first place he looks is his kitchen. And she's not in the kitchen, and he's freaked out. No, it wasn't until we got to editing this that I thought, I didn't mean to do that. Also, what's hilarious is the kitchen is about 6 foot square, isn't it? And yet he does a 360 trying to find her.
Yeah.
He's not the brightest of characters.
No. It's not you that's sexist, it's the character.
Yeah, the character that maybe I created.
I think, as we've discussed, it takes time, but some positive discrimination speeds that up.
I think also just think twice before you say something, even if it is a joke. Just think twice, because it might offend some people.
Ah, you mean the Celine Dion rule?
Nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So before you think about saying something that is sexist, that
baby, think twice. Unless baby's a synonym for woman.
Yeah. So if we're going to follow the Celine Dion principle, should we change the outro?
I've been Alex.
And I've been Ian.
And I've been John. And remember, baby, think twice.
Be a dickhead.
This is quality.